right, welcome to the 9th episode of the Sporadic Gaming Podcast. I am D or Fizz, and this is my lovely co-host.
No Youth or Dev.
It sucks that we have so many different names. It's hard to keep track.
I know, and both of our names start with D, so
That's
people
the
could
real
just
problem.
immediately get confused.
Fun lore trivia for you guys. My original plans, our original ideas for this podcast, we were going to name it the D and Dev Podcast, and then we decided not to, especially once we decided to start bringing in other people. But that was one of the original things.
Yeah.
So that's a small little lore dump for you watching at home. But thank you guys.
Actual trivia. It'll be on
trivia.
Jeopardy. So.
Yeah, that's going to be on the test. So you better be paying attention.
Study up.
But welcome to the next episode. I know it's been about a week off. Had to kind of get some stuff in order here, but we are back. We're going to hit the ground running. Let's just get right to it, right? So as per usual, let's go ahead and kind of talk about what we've been doing, I guess, for the past 2 weeks now, right? So what have you been playing? I'll let you start, D. Dev.
So, D.
Oh, gosh.
You can, I guess you can start
That's
if you'd like
the problem.
to.
That's the problem with our names.
Too similar. Yeah, so I've recently, and you've seen this, and everyone that's been in the Discord has seen this, my addiction to Persona 5 Royal is back, and it's in full swing. But guys, I got into modding, and I've been doing the early party members for Persona 5 Royal. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. But other than playing that, I've been playing Caste Crashers, which we're going to talk about in this podcast. And I've been playing some Expedition 33. I just started it.
Wait, what?
That was a little surprise for you. Yeah,
What?
I got it. Started it. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm about an hour in.
Dude.
So.
No way. Wait, did you get it on PC or did you get it on PlayStation?
I got on PlayStation.
That's why I haven't
so
seen
I won't
you
be able to
playing
stream it.
That's why I haven't been seeing
Yeah.
you playing it, because I just haven't been on my PlayStation in a hot minute, so I didn't see. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a little surprise. But I've been playing that for about a week and a half. And then I've been playing, Painter Boss Paradise since, when did it drop, the 8th? The 9th? Oh, and a few quick matches.
Still got to play that with you.
Little indie platform fighter that came out. It's pretty good. Is it the greatest thing ever? No, but it's pretty good. And that's all that I really can say about that one. But what about you? What have you been playing?
Oh man, I've been all over the place, honestly. I think with the main thing has been the Battlefield 6 beta. Let's just be real. I put so much time into that stupid beta. But Battlefield 6 beta, I've been playing Street Fighter and Tekken again. I've been playing Marvel Rivals, been getting into ranked Marvel Rivals, ranked Tekken, ranked Street Fighter, just trying to get good. I don't know. I just suddenly hit the bug, right? And especially with season 3 coming out for Street Fighter, and obviously, season 2 is kind of in the middle of its rough patch for Tekken and stuff. So just kind of getting back into it again, and just kind of relearning what the game is and how it's changed so much and what they're doing to kind of fix it. And then with Street Fighter, just season 3 just started, Sagat just came out. So I've been just doing a lot of that, playing those 4 games a lot, especially. Haven't really had a chance to touch a lot of single player stuff, but really the big thing has been other nerd stuff outside of gaming. We just finished in the Discord. We just finished part 1 Naruto. We just finished Bleach as well. So we just started 1,000 Year Blood War. We've been watching movies, hanging out. We've just been doing a lot of stuff in the Discord, which has been great. Shameless plug, join the Discord.
It's now been mentioned twice in the first 10 minutes.
100%.
So.
No, but it's been good, man. Yeah, we do all kinds of stuff, obviously, as I mentioned. But no, it's been good. We've been doing a lot of stuff, hanging out, playing games. We're obviously going to get a whole big group together for Battlefield. We're getting set up. We're getting set up. But it's been fun. So that's kind of that's the big, the big stuff I've been up to. Obviously just especially this week, the only thing I've been playing has been Battlefield. And it's been so good. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about it a little bit, but I've been so happy.
Yeah, I mean, we can get right into that. I definitely enjoyed a lot of the Battlefield 6 beta. You played it more than I did.
Oh, definitely.
But they made some pretty big changes that I think are super beneficial. I have here listed support as the biggest one.
Yeah.
I think the support's rework is perfect.
It's controversial, I'll tell you that, though. It is.
I don't understand how you could be divided on that. Like, you put the things like a class that honestly no one played. Like like you saw
That's not
such
true.
little usage, but you saw such little usage of support. It was a class that I think needed a buff. It needed or something else. It was the LMG class, which is a very unpopular gun. SMGs, ARs, and snipers are 100% used more than LMGs.
LMGs are the least popular of that group. You're right.
So you had that. Getting ammo was only important if you were running with a party because who cares? You know what I mean? If you're playing like by yourself, usually people weren't really focused on that. And you couldn't solo with that class. So people would way rather play Assault, the class that healing ARs.
What I will say, real quick, is that that is the case for the games you've played of the Battlefield series.
Mm.
The reason it's controversial is because Battlefield 5 and, well, 1 to an extent, but Battlefield 5 specifically changed the roles. They eliminated engineer entirely. Assault became your AR or just rifle class and your explosives class. So assault became both of those things. They had a dedicated medic class that took engineer's role as the SMG close quarters people and the reviver healer people. Then support was shotguns, LMGs, and ammo, and then recon was snipers and spotting and respawning, all that kind of stuff. So that's the niche that they hold. And to this day, a lot of Battlefield people, not all, but a lot of Battlefield people do kind of swear by that as the perfect class system. I don't agree. I think not having an engineer is crazy. But like
I
a
think
lot
not
of
having an
people,
engineer is so crazy.
a lot of people kind of swear by that. And so like you're kind of seeing two camps, right? People like me who are Battlefield 3, 4 heads, and then people who maybe appreciate Battlefield 1 and 5 more. And that's kind of the divide right now. Is like Battlefield 3 and 4 heads and then Battlefield 1 and 5 heads. They have different opinions on what classes should be, how they should be balanced, and what the focus should be. The other thing is that clearly DICE is willing to experiment even at the 7th hour. Like they made sweeping changes to the class system a week ago. You know what I mean? Like they aren't confident in their class design nearly as confident as they are about all this other stuff that they've been doing. That worries me a little bit, but I will say though is everything on paper sounds great, and in practice, I agree with you. I like the support change. I think having the dedicated support class with the most unpopular weapon type, but then giving them both health and ammo, I think it just leads to like a lot of people playing support, which leads to a lot of actual reviving, a lot of actual team play, inter squad play. It's been great. And then obviously the change that started in Battlefield 5 of being able to revive your squad mates no matter what class you are helps everything tremendously, because it's not like Battlefield 4 where you need two assault classes at all times. You need two medics because if one medic dies, you're screwed until a respawn can
Yeah.
happen. Like that is actually the best change Battlefield 5 made, is being able to res a squad mate without being a medic class, because now your squad can work together and keep each other alive, and then your medic can work to not only sustain your class but also now revive other people, which is how they end up functioning really well. And then of course now with the Battlefield 6 changes, them also being your ammo dealers. Like they just are the full support team, and that's awesome. I think the issue with that I have with that is just that it kind of gives Assault nothing to do, which is why they had to get all these changes to the Assault class to like really like zhuzh up what Assault is, giving them two primary weapons, giving them, the deploy beacon, giving them like all these things like to make them highly mobile, and the grenade launchers and the adrenaline shot and like the breaching tools and stuff. So
But
then
I
it's
think
like,
all of that stuff,
it's
like
great.
and I don't think any of those things are would belong in another class. Like
De-
Recon
the
having
deploy
the
beacon having been associated with recon for the last 20 years, I get it, but I like, on paper, I
but I
like
feel
their
like it
change.
makes no I feel like it makes like fundamentally it makes less sense for the campy class.
Yeah,
Campy.
quote
I'm
quote
not
unquote
calling out
clampy. Yeah.
recons, but I'm saying it's they're the ones that they're sniping, you're farther
I'm
away.
calling out
They
recons.
shouldn't
I'm
have
calling you out.
they shouldn't be the ones that are all the way back over there by the root beer on my desk, and then being able to respawn their entire team way far away. It should be the assault in the heart of things. He gets to place this right before a push onto A, and then you can have your team respawn on there and push. And I think that is, in my opinion, the best way to do that, because you never, unless you were playing with a team full of recons, at least in Battlefield 4 in my experience, you would never, ever, ever use their respawning beacon, because they're 100 miles away from the point. Just spawn on a it's faster to spawn on a further point and just run there than respawn 300 meters like away from your destination.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think with that, you're right. It makes just way more sense for Assault, the people who are the tip of the spear, the people who are the squad leaders, to be the ones to have the respawn beacon, especially with the changes they made to where like people who stay near your Assault class, they can cap objectives faster. Like these things all make sense on paper. I totally get it. I think the issue is practice, right? We have on paper, but the beta doesn't have any of these changes in it. So we have to like wait to see how that's all gonna go. And then the only worry I have is that Recon's going to have really nothing to do. I think what they've done so far is enough, but I worry that, again, paper versus practice, I just want to make sure that's actually the case.
And if Recon's scouting stuff, I think this might be a controversial change, but I think one of the changes I'd make to Recon is they should be the only class that can spot people.
Oh,
I've never,
just in general, like
never
only class that can spot anybody?
I think you should be able to press Q and point a location and be like, hey, there's people there. But if you're Recon, you can spot people. And that just gives such a huge advantage, because then the Recon class is able to sit there and with their sniper ping people. It gives
That's
them
interesting.
another thing of Recon. I
That's
never
interesting.
understood how you can ping people. I never understood that.
That is a hot take. I'm going to say something crazy though. I think I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm
That's
telling you, dude.
crazy. That is a radical change. But that actually, unironically, especially like because Recon is like the spotting class. They have tugs. They
Yeah.
have
They
they
get
have
drones
the
and stuff like
drones.
that
Yeah,
that
the
you can use.
Mav.
Imagine being able to take control of a drone, go into a building, and tag 3 people. And then now your team now knows that there's 3 people in that building.
Damn. Yeah, that's big. I haven't thought of it. I don't think that's a change they're going to make. I'll just be honest. But like that is
I don't think so either.
interesting.
But I think
That's an
that
interesting
would
route.
be something that I think that would give Recon a little bit more of an identity.
And I apologize
So
if they've ever done that, a change like that. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't play Battlefield 1 or 5 very much, so like maybe that's in one of those games, but at the very least, it wasn't in 3 or 4. So
yeah, I don't. I've only played 4, guys. I'm a
yeah,
little bit of a poser. But we were talking about identity, class
yeah,
identity. But let's now talk a little bit broader, franchise identity. So this is going to be our 3rd time plugging the Discord. Oh my gosh. So in the Discord, I had a conversation with Fizz, and we were talking about Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty. And this was a really interesting conversation. Can you like sum it up so that way we can get there, just kind of main points, I guess?
yeah. I mean, I guess the main thing is just anybody who's been around these two series for a long time has been able to kind of see during the years that a Battlefield's releasing and a COD's releasing, which obviously COD is yearly and Battlefield's not. So just whenever a Battlefield game comes out, it's always compared to COD. I mean, that's just how it is. They're always compared. They're not necessarily rivals, but like that's kind of how the gaming public saw them historically. So you have games like Battlefield 3 releasing in 2011 alongside Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 4 releasing alongside Ghosts in 2013, and so on and so forth. Battlefield Hardline, which 2015, what game was that? Black Ops 3? Oh yeah, poor Hardline. Or
Yeah, no, and then
Battlefield
they get
1.
Chronicles.
Battlefield 1 releasing alongside Infinite Warfare. Battlefield 5 releasing alongside, I want to say, Black Ops 4. And then
That sounds about right.
2042, which was Cold War. So you look at all of those releases. Obviously, Battlefield 3, massive success. Modern Warfare 3, massive success. Modern Warfare 3 clears, but that Battlefield 3 is like the game that put Battlefield like on the map. Like obviously, like Battlefield was still doing good before then. Like Bad Company 2 was super popular. Battlefield 2, arguably one of the most popular shooters of like its era. So those games obviously did well, but Battlefield 3 was like the big jump, right? It's kind of like the franchise starts with 3 problem, but for Battlefield. So
Oh my
that
gosh.
happened. Battlefield
As a
4.
Persona fan, that hurts.
Battlefield 4 released alongside Ghosts. Ghost was terrible. Battlefield 4 had a lot of issues. Battlefield 4 went on to have a very long lifespan. It did very well for itself. Ended up having more players in the long run, but Ghost sold better by a lot. The first time that like Battlefield was ever a real proper competition was Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 2016, Infinite Warfare and Battlefield 1 were neck and neck in sales, and I don't know the exact numbers, so forgive me, but they both ended somewhere in the 15 million range. But Infinite Warfare obviously did overtake Battlefield on the end, and Infinite Warfare ended up being the best-selling game of 2016, as COD always does. So the discussion is, with Battlefield 6 being as hyped as it is, with Black Ops 7 being as, let's just say, not hyped as it is, are we approaching a moment to where it's possible for Battlefield to get to that position again that it was in with Battlefield 1 and potentially overtake? I don't think overtake. I think that's a little bit crazy. But at the very least, like, be in a position to do so again. And the reason that conversation started is because the Battlefield 6 beta in the first weekend anyways ended up passing the all-time Steam player concurrent record of Call of Duty. Keep in mind, Call of Duty has Warzone, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops 6 included in those numbers. So Warzone obviously being free, like that's including all the free players and the paid players all together in one number. They ended up being around like 480 something thousand. Black Ops or Battlefield 6, sorry, they peaked at the time of recording. This was yesterday, but they peaked at like 517 or something. Somewhere in the they broke 500,000. They beat them. And like, yep, it's a beta, it's not the full game, but that's still crazy in my head. That's crazy.
So we then kind of opened up the floor to the
Yeah.
Discord. So Fizz posts some information about it, and he immediately got swarmed with like 4 people
He
pushing
did.
back.
Some
And I was one
people
of
some
those
people feel
4.
strongly one way or the other. Like you have Dolty, who's very much Battlefield over COD.
Right,
Then you have,
100%.
Ryan and Gabe, who are just kind of more pushing on
And
that side. And then you as well. I was somewhere in the middle more because I don't have a
I
I have something I want, an outcome I want to happen, but I know would like unrealistic. So I'm just kind of talking about like the competition, right?
I agree, and I definitely would consider myself to be more in the middle. I
Yeah.
don't like COD, and I'm starting to really like Battlefield, but I do not like these games like as a whole yet. So when that got brought up to me, you pretty much just have like one thought process for it, because it's the thought process to have. Call of Duty, bad Call of Duties sell well. It just
Yeah.
Call of Duty is a yearly
Not as
game.
well, but they still sell well.
They do, because what happens is people will buy a COD game every year, and if it's terrible, hate on it, and if it's good, they'll play it. But them buying the game and hating on it is still a sale.
Yeah.
Like Vanguard. Vanguard sold, if I'm not wrong, pretty well for its release. That came out also after a not really liked game. Cold War was not really liked, and it came out
Cold
after
War
Cold War.
Cold War's a Black Ops game though, so like also Cold War is like the first Black Ops game after Modern Warfare 2019. So Cold War actually did sell
But
really
it
well.
wasn't
Cold War
it
sold really
wasn't
well.
yes, but people didn't like it. I'm talking like enjoyment. Usually after a bad Call of Duty game, the next one, if it's also bad, will sell less. It's like a pipeline. So if it's the first one will sell good, but then the next one will sell bad because people now have a sour taste of COD in their mouth, and then they were like, okay, well, let me just see if this game's even good after launch. And then the reviews come in, and then people decide not to buy it, and they'll stick with the last one. But like, even when that happens, Cold War got sold really well. People played it, didn't really like it. Vanguard still sold well.
Yeah.
And I think that you're putting that in the same shoes of people who don't look for alternatives in Call of Duty. They play Call of Duty and they don't play anything else.
Yeah.
And I was basically saying that casual gamers and people that don't play games play Call of Duty, and they play um you know Fortnite, and they play 2K. but casual players don't play Battlefield.
which is
And so
true.
I was just saying that losing that casual player base, which in my experience is the majority. They're
They are.
the quiet majority. You know, losing that to Call of Duty every single year is what's going to put Battlefield, I think, so far behind. And I don't think that Battlefield 6 will be close anymore. I definitely don't think it's passing, but
The
I
thing
don't think it'll be close.
is that Battlefield 6 is gunning for Call of Duty's crown hard. I mean, the marketing, the everything they're doing is to appeal to those casuals. They
The
are
break stuff
also
trailer.
they are also, let's just be honest, right? With the hardcore fans, they have their concerns, right? Skill-based matchmaking, the aesthetic of Call of Duty kind of having no visual identity anymore, right? So Battlefield coming out and being like, hey, no skill-based matchmaking. Also, here's a gritty, real-world setting with no goofy skins and nightmare stuff, right? That obviously won over the hardcores immediately. But then a lot of people in the Call of Duty fandom are looking for any excuse to kind of play anything else, even the casuals. And so Battlefield coming out and being like, by the way, we're also doing King of the Hill and Domination and TDM, and we're going to have these chunks of the big maps and play these normal modes. And then we're also, if you want, you can now play these big modes. Oh, yeah, you want to fly a plane? Go ahead and do that. You want to drive a tank? Go ahead and do that in these big modes. And then, oh, by the way, you want a Battle Royale? Yeah, we're doing that too for free, by the way. So go ahead and you can play that too. And we're going to have single player campaign and more. Like, they're gunning hard for those casuals. I don't think they're going to be able to pull everybody, but I will say, like, think of all the people in our family who play Call of Duty every year. Every single one of them, except for I think one that you mentioned, every single one of them has already said they're not buying Black Ops 7, and all of them are buying Black Ops 6 or Battlefield 6. So I don't know. I'm not saying I can only speak anecdotally to like the people in our lives, but those I
But
would
like,
consider
okay,
more casuals to an extent, and
y-
they're already like, oh yeah, no, Battlefield 6 looks dope. We're gonna do that this year.
yes, but like our brother Hawksby Crying, he also is the same person who played through Persona 5 Vanilla and Persona 5 Royal. You can't put him on that casual tier because
At
that's not a
our
casual game.
at our like
Incorrect.
behest to a point.
We talked him into playing Persona 4. And then he played that and he loved it. Then he played the entirety of Persona 5. And then when Royal came out, he restarted and played Royal.
Which is true. But he also like
Uh
now the only games he
Stunt
plays are COD and Madden. That's it. Same with Dad. Same with other people in our lives.
but Stunt Monkey, he plays Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He plays multiverses. That's not a casual gamer. He plays games for fun. He enjoys that kind of stuff. I would say that my dad, I would consider him a casual
Yeah, but
gamer
he doesn't play COD.
because
He plays Fortnite. He's on the other. He's
exactly.
on the other spectrum. I think COD is a level of hardcore above Fortnite. Let's just be real.
It's what yeah for sure yeah well it's just for older. It's no but the like those are I would consider the casual masses, and I'm not saying that the casual masses don't also play other games. Obviously, that's just
I mean, I see
that's
what you're saying though. You're comparing it a little
I'm just
differently.
saying like
They
Texas
have their
Chainsaw
own
Massacre
niches, their
multiverses,
own interests.
that niche their interests. He platinumed Super Meat Boy.
That's
You
true.
don't
Actually, no,
casual
that's true.
gamers
That's
don't do
true.
that.
That's true. He did do that,
Like
huh? God, that's
Like,
crazy,
or
by the way.
I don't know if he got it, but he's like right there. Like he has like the one more trophy or just got it. Like, but he's like, and then he completes these games,
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Whereas I feel like the casual gamer casually plays these games after work. They're unwinding games. So like they'll play a couple story games that they unwind with, and but like that's not Persona 5. Persona 5 is not a game you unwind to. It's 117 hours.
Truly, the only thing I could see like really making a difference is if Firestorm 2 ends up being like way better than Warzone, Because like
Is
think of
Firestorm 2 the battle royale
yeah, yeah.
for this? Okay.
Because like look at like Apex. That's also EA, and Apex like
Is part of the big 3 of battle
yeah,
royales.
Apex is part of that big three. And oh, by the way, you know who made Apex? Vin Zampella. You know who's the director of Battlefield 6? Vin Zampella. Because everything this man touches turns to gold. I'm
Yeah,
just saying, like it's possible. Like I think that's the kicker, right? Is that they're doing Firestorm that's free. Because they've done Firestorm before, but it wasn't free and it was kind of bad. Not gonna lie, and it was also tied to a game that also was bad. So like, eh. But controversial take on that. Don't like Battlefield 5. But with Firestorm 2 being free and then also this huge push, like I think just at the very least the player numbers are showing this is not only the biggest Battlefield beta, this is the biggest Battlefield anything. They beat 2042's highest player count too. Like this wasn't just beating COD, this was beating themselves. This is already confirmed by them to be like the most played Battlefield beta, like already to that degree. So like they're getting the attention of non-Battlefield fans. If it was just Battlefield fans, we would see this as at like a, you know, pinnacle, right, being like Battlefield 3 or 4. But this is surpassing that multiple times over. So they are
But you
getting
okay,
people who are not just Battlefield fans. It's about retaining them, then getting them to purchase the game, but they're at least paying attention. And that is what's
but
crazy. They're paying
every
attention.
market, every market, and this is just basic sales. You obviously have the people who are gonna buy your stuff. You
Yeah.
have your default number. So I'm just gonna use random numbers that aren't even true. Let's say Call of Duty has 10 people that are guaranteed to buy this game every single year. Okay, low numbers because I'm dumb and I need smaller numbers
Yeah.
to retain. So 10 people buy Call of Duty every single year, and Battlefield has 4 people that buy
That's
it every
actually
single
probably
year.
about accurate.
Okay, so because of that, Battlefield is starting off a leg beneath Call of Duty
Yeah.
by over double, right? You know, they would need to double their player count and some in order to get to the baseline of Call of Duty. Because of that, because of that large discrepancy, the amount of extra people they're going to need is significantly more than like 2 more people that Call of Duty needs to get. If
Yeah.
Call of Duty gets 2 people and they're at 12, and then Battlefield doubles theirs, and that's with 4 extra people, they are literally still 4 more away from tying.
And
They would need
now
to triple
hear me
their
out.
player count
Hear
to
me
get
out.
there.
Hear me out. Because I think the other thing is that like yes, Call of Duty has historically had 10 people that buy it every single year. Early projections, speculation, of course, but speculation is predicting that number of 10 is going to go down. Let's just say it goes down to 8. Well, then now Battlefield needs to double, sure. But the question is, okay, Battlefield already just naturally doubled, and then Call of Duty lost 2. Where are those people going to go? Probably over here. Now they're at this number, and then also like the beta, 500,000 some people on Steam alone, more so on Xbox and PlayStation. Like, let's just say that Steam is the only populace because it's the only one we have numbers for. Let's just compare Steam.
Yeah. No,
Like,
for sure.
Steam numbers would show this is now performing 5 times better than Battlefield 2042's peak. So if they're gaining 5 times the players, and again, so speculation, guys, just
So
want to really
speculative.
hang
Yes.
this here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's say like if those numbers are accurate, they just gain 5 times the amount of players that are now interested in Battlefield 6. That is also only concurrent players. That's not total. That's just people all logged in at the same time. Like, we really won't know until this is all said and done, right? But launch is just the beginning too, because Call of Duties are a 1-year franchise. Like, the reason that Battlefield 1 and all those games, Battlefield 4, like, made a difference later is because people still to this day are buying Battlefield 4. People don't go back to go
Yeah.
buy Vanguard. People go back to go play Battlefield 4. People go back to play
No,
Battlefield
for
1.
sure.
They go on sale or whatever, but like more importantly, like those games last a long time. You can go back and play Battlefield 4 right now, find full servers and all sorts of groups running custom servers together. And not only that, but like it's been 11 years. Like these people are they're in it. That's the game they play. And you go back to try to go play an older Call of Duty and it's like hacked to hell and there's all sorts of issues. Like you can't really do it. There's only 100
Dude,
people online. There's
get
thousands,
into a
tens of thousands of people playing Battlefield. Like the games
get into a
last
Black Ops
longer.
3 lobby, dude.
Yeah.
The Black Ops 3 is riddled with hackers, and dear God, you want to play the PC port? You're cooked.
Yeah,
you're
cooked.
just actually
You're cooked.
The fact that consoles have that many hackers is actually insane. And then you go to
But
PC and it's just exclusively
Battlefield though, they last a long time. Like the games get support for years. Like Battlefield 4 was getting DLC maps in 2015. Like there was another Battlefield game that was out And Battlefield 4 we're still getting DLC maps, bro. Like like
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that happens, and COD doesn't have that. So I think that's the one advantage they already have by default is they're going to still
And
be releasing content and selling the game more 2 years from now.
and I would say retention, I will 100% give it to you.
100%, that's not even
Like
questionable.
literally not even a question of retention. And I think Battlefield will not only have I always say it's the 1 month of COD. COD is not in my mind a yearly game. That is a month of the year. That is just only the only game you play is COD. And
3
it's just
months.
October or
It's
whatever it
3
comes out.
months.
No, 3 months is when other people play it. I give the game 1 month and then I'm sick of it and I don't want to play something else.
The
Because I
the the
play
like the stereotype though is 3 months. That's like the
yeah.
joke. The cycle is it's 3 months.
And that's like just the time that you spend on Call of Duty is so limited. And I played Battlefield 4 for like what 2 months.
Yeah, we
We
played
played
the
pretty well.
only reason we stopped is because of
No
what our
one
goal
else
is. Our
was.
our goal with playing Battlefield as a group is to get everybody. And we were running into situations where people didn't have PCs, people weren't able to join us. People preferred playing on a controller, and Battlefield 4 doesn't have controller support, stuff like that. So we basically decided like let's put a pause on this. Let's really push Battlefield for the next game that comes out and try to get people like cross-play controller players, that kind of stuff that are able to now join us and play in these big lobbies. That's kind of why. That's the only reason, because otherwise I'd be playing Battlefield 4 every day. I'm just going to be honest.
And we played through a bunch of Battlefield 4. Battlefield 4 was a super enjoyable experience, and it
Yeah, we
was
put in
super
like
good
40
team
hours.
building for us and stuff too. We put some time on that. And so the retention is definitely there, and there's a modern audience for Battlefield. And I think that that is the last metric that I'm going to bring up for this conversation is there is a need for this type of game in current day. Think about how big Ready or Not became like
Yeah,
overnight, man.
people want this
I
stuff, dude.
struggle to get on TikTok and not see a Ready or Not thing. And the news outlet or not outlets, but like the news channels, YouTube channels we watch, they started talking about Ready or Not, and people got really invested into it, and it became such a big game literally overnight. It even got me and you, and we're like, where did this come from? Like it was literally out of nowhere. Where has this been all our life? So those realistic games with the realistic bullet physics and like that kind of stuff, there's a need for it. There's not
Tack
an
shooters.
arcade shooter that
Tack
does that.
shooters, you know? And
Yeah.
Battlefield's not a tack shooter to that degree, but it's
No, it's an
inspired by
arcade
it.
shooter for
It's
sure.
absolutely inspired by it, and it has those elements that other games don't. So you have that group of people that are absolutely going to play Battlefield. Those people don't play COD. They played Modern Warfare 2019, broke records, and then never returned.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I don't think that Black Ops is going to I feel like it's really losing its niche. I feel like Call of Duty is really losing its niche. And I think the reason why
That's
it's
the
losing its
problem with the
niche is
aesthetic
because
and everything too. Like they can't decide what they want to be.
no, for sure. And I think that they've cooked themselves because everyone wants 2019 again. That is Call of Duty. Call of Duty should be doing that kind of stuff. And like the story should be that deep. And like there's now we now have the standard of 2019 is the best modern COD game. Not in my opinion. I think Black Ops 6 is the best modern COD game. But in 2019, which is like widely considered to be the best, and so many people enjoy this game's campaign, the mission modes. What do they have it in that game? Um,
You mean like Spec Ops?
yeah, but it wasn't.
But
I don't think it
no,
was
because
called Spec
not Spec
Ops.
Ops. Spec Ops
Uh,
2018 Spec Ops is bad.
yeah, maybe not that then. I don't know, but the campaign was really loved, and obviously the multiplayer was absolutely loved in Warzone. You just had some real good stuff in that game, and the game was packed to the introduced gunfight,
Yeah, I know.
dude.
Gunfight is my favorite thing ever.
It's so fun, and so there. But like
if,
even
if
that,
Battlefield
okay,
if
gunfight.
Battlefield gives us gunfight, it's over. It's over.
Dude, but even gunfight, single life, you have to play more tactically. Like people loved that. It was an insanely popular game mode.
Dude, you know what I just remembered? Battlefield 6 is gonna
What?
have a freaking custom games editor, bro. If they're on Portal, we can just make gunfight. We can make our own
Heck yeah,
custom
dude.
gunfight maps.
We
We can
made,
make like
dude, gunfight, and then we take the Discord and we run it as like a tournament. Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
bro.
gunfight, Black Ops or
That's another
Battlefield
thing we
6.
haven't taken into account yet, dude. Portal 2 is going to be crazy big for this because you're going to have all the YouTubers making all these custom games, all these custom maps and stuff. It's going to be like what Forge is to Halo, but in a game that everyone's going to play this time because it's going to be out at
Yeah,
launch.
I have my reservations over this. We talked about this for a
Yeah,
long time.
we're
Holy
talking about
crap.
it for a
Okay.
long time now, actually. Yeah, like
Yeah, we've had this conversation. I just so you guys know at the pod or that are listening in, we have like mini conversations a lot. And sometimes as we have the conversations, we realize they'd be really good conversations for the podcast and we kind of
this
hold it.
happens. Yeah.
Which is what happened with this, which is why we kind of knew our talking points a little bit at the
A little
beginning.
bit.
But genuinely, let us know what you guys think. Do you think Battlefield 6 has an opportunity to pass Call of Duty in sales? And if so, what's your metric? Do you think it's not going to pass it, but it's going to get close? Do you think it's going to happen over the course of its lifetime? Let us know.
My if you want
Because
my real prediction, like hard and set in stone, I
yeah,
think
we'll do that right now.
I think
Hard predictions.
it will not be the best-selling game of 2025. However, I think it will pass it in sales next year. That's my official prediction. I think the total number, because COD is going to stop selling and Battlefield 6 is going to keep going. I think it's going to pass it next year. Like Battlefield 1 could have done that. I don't think it ever did. I think we're going to be at that position where there's going to be another Battlefield 1 repeat, but next year COD is going to fall off a cliff and this game is just going to keep going. I think it passes it next year. That's my official prediction.
My official prediction, I would say that if it does pass it, it will be minimum of 2 years in order to get it. And I also think that timeline is subject to change based off of how well this launch is received. When the game fully comes out and the launch and we get our day 1, week 1 people talking about the game, I will be able to give a more accurate on how long I think it's going to last. Because if the game has a great launch, I would agree with you for 1 year. But I think it is guaranteed to not pass Call of Duty.
I think the beta being in the state it's in, which for those who haven't played, the beta is in a great state. I would actually say
Yeah.
this beta is more
You only had one
polished.
crash.
Yeah, one crash ever. And that's pretty good for a game that's not out yet. But this beta
Yeah.
is more polished and like more in a perfectly ready state than like any Battlefield has ever been at launch. Like
I mean,
Battlefield 3's
this
launch,
2042.
2044's launch, like are you kidding me? Yeah, no. Like this game is more feature complete and more polished without like bugs or performance issues. Like I'm actually blown away by how polished this game is. I was very skeptical even from like the
Dude,
Battlefield Labs tests. Like I was like, yeah, this game's not going to be ready by October. But once we got our hands on the beta, it was like, dude, they put work in to get this working. Like this is actually polished.
the fact that I could hit play game and it loads
And it just
is
happens.
already better than 2042. That's already better than 2042 launch. Like your launcher works. Like this
That's
is brand
crazy.
new.
That's
Dude,
crazy.
it took like 4 hours of stuff when 2042 launched. I feel bad for the people who got the game a day early or 2 days early or whatever it was. You didn't get to play. You wasted like $30 on
And
top
if
of your purchase
And if you
for
could
nothing.
get in, you were met with like the buggiest multiplayer game you've ever played. One of the worst multiplayer launches of all time. Up there in
Dude.
the annals of history with Master Chief Collection. Up there with Cyberpunk. It's just, yeah, it was bad, dude.
Mind's Eye or whatever. What's the new
Nah,
the
it
GTA
wasn't that
killer?
bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
We never talked about Mind's Eye.
Did we
never
not?
talked about
I
that.
think we did a little bit during the Rena episode.
The Rena. Oh, okay. I wasn't on that one.
Yeah,
I never
think
talked about Mind's Eye.
I think it
That
was the first
game's
episode he
bad.
was on. Yeah.
That game's bad. Oh yeah. I realized me and you never talked about it.
Yeah.
So
Crazy stuff.
Wow. Okay. So that's ate up a bunch of time, but
That's all right. Yeah,
that was good.
That was
It's
yeah.
good.
I think Battlefield 6 is going to be big though. That's the thing.
It's gonna be
big.
It's gonna be big, and the fact that we can even have
So
this
excited.
conversation is
So
important.
excited.
So Battlefield 6 is coming out. Something that has come out is the new Castle Crashers DLC.
That new hotness.
Dude, guys, I'm not going to spend too long yapping about this, but I just got to get it off my chest, guys. How do I even begin this thought? So Castle Crashers game came out 2008. My brother can remember this. What was life like back in 2000? I was 2 years old. You were what, like 11? What was happening?
The Summer of Arcade.
Summer of Arcade,
Yeah,
and
man, dude,
just
Summer of
you
Arcade 360, that was special. That was a special time.
and you just stumbled upon peak like that.
Yeah, 2008 was that like Fez, I think was also that year. Caste Crashers, Explosion Man. Like yeah, Summer of Arcade 2008, 2007 was good too. Um
2008, wasn't that also Super Meat Boy, or is that
I
later?
think well, Fez, Super Meat
Let me
Boy
see.
and they were the same year, I think. Maybe that was actually later, but 2008, yeah.
Oh, 2010. Super Meat Boy is 2010.
Yeah, Fez was that year then too. So, yeah, but 2008 just Summer of Arcade just in general. The whole run was legendary, man, I'm telling you.
Well, let's see. What was in the 2008 Summer Arcade, or Summer of Arcade, right?
Yeah,
Was what it was called.
Summer of Arcade.
Da, da, da. What games came out? Geometry Wars,
Geometry
bro.
Wars. Oh my god, I forgot that was a Summer of Arcade game. Geometry Wars freaking rocks, dude.
Bionic Commando,
Yeah, Bionic Commando.
Rearmed,
It's a Capcom game.
Galaga Legends, Castle Crashers, and then Braid. I don't know what Braid is.
Braid's good. Braid's the time one. The one with the rewinding time. The little
I do know what
platformer.
Braid
Yeah.
is. Yeah, that game. I think I played like 2 hours of it. I don't think or maybe even less than that.
Yeah, no, Geometry
I think.
Wars. Ooh. Oh man, I'm
Yeah,
telling you,
Geometry
dude,
Wars and
dude,
Castle
Summer of
Crashers.
Arcade never missed. Even if there
Dude,
was
yeah.
not a lot of bangers, there was at least one that was like revolutionary. I miss Summer of Arcade. I wish they do that again.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Microsoft, if you're watching this for some reason, one, why? Two, bring back Summer of Arcade. We want it. And specifically for us, that'd be awesome.
But Castle
But
Crashers.
yeah, so Castle Crashers came out, and this game had like nothing in it other than just the base game, and that was all it needed. When games, it was an era where games launched complete and feature complete, and they did a couple DLC. They added insane mode, and then they're like, okay, the game's done. And then we played that crap all the way into 2013, where it got backwards compatible on Xbox One, and then the greatest day of my life happened.
Well, that didn't happen in 2013 because it
Whenever
wasn't.
they
Yeah,
backwards, they
yeah,
add the backwards compatibility. We just played Castle Crashers. We had a 360 up until they added backwards compatibility. Like
yeah.
that's what I played. And so when they added backwards compatibility, but around that time, the greatest thing ever to happen, ever happened. They remastered the game and they threw the DLC unlocks into insane mode, and they only had one DLC character in the game, and the big selling point was that Purple Knight was going to just be a default character that you can just play as. And they like released all this stuff, and like the only thing you need to do is spend $2 extra to get Pink Knight, and you buy the game, it's feature complete. It added back off Barbarian. There's a bunch of stuff. It was like the biggest update in the game. This is bigger than that, because this update, in my opinion, literally has made the game just new. This is a new game now.
They've done a
They
lot.
added,
They really have.
so they've changed, like, okay. So Castle Crashers had a very distinct art style, very 2008 art style. They've now changed the art style and they call it their fresh graphics. And it looks amazing. Very fluid animations. The things kind of flow really well together. So it's very beautiful. I like it a lot. A little hater, but I like it a lot. Um and so they're very fluid animations. They also have the workshop, which is the true
Yeah.
biggest change.
Workshop is the
Now,
best thing about any game that has it, I swear.
100%, dude. Oh my gosh. A Hat in Time. I did not really enjoy my playthrough of A Hat in Time when I played the vanilla game. I beat that game with mods. All I needed was Cappy, and I freaking loved it. Um, yeah, I just turned that game into Mario Odyssey. I just played it like that. But anyways, you had just the workshop stuff is awesome. And day one, I mean, Aegis, Soul Bad Guy, Cloud Strife, Makoto Yuki, uh, the Hollow Knight, a bunch of Hollow Knight, Soulless from what's it called? Shovel Knight, you had like all these characters just in the game, just immediately in the game, and it was just so nice. It's just been so fun. I played through the game with the new character they added, the Painter Boss Junior. I played through the entire game already with just him the first day it came out, and then we started a run, and I think we're planning on doing a run with it in the Discord or something like that, or
Something like that.
something.
I definitely want to play
We're
more of it because it is good. It is good. It's cool how much customization they give you, how much freedom in the workshop. Like, it's awesome getting to see people like put up their own custom characters or realistically copyrighted third party characters. But it's cool getting to see people do that. It's awesome.
No, it's super fun, and a huge mechanic is you're also able to change like the character slots. So you could like be like, okay, so now I'm replacing like the alien character with this. And the one that we installed was it replaces the alien character with Gur from Invader Zim. But it also does that to enemies. So as we're playing the game, the enemies are now we're fighting Gurs, and you can do this with stormtroopers. You can do this with any of these characters that you get. You can set them as the enemies, and then you can fight them. So it's in my opinion, I think it's just such a cool way to kind of get all this stuff done and play through this game in a new way. And I'm not like in need of a new way to play this game. I play through it constantly. There was a day where I sat down and I handed my brother a controller and we got the platinum in one day. I was like, we're just gonna do this, and me and my sister
That was
orchestrated this
fun.
way to try to get him the fastest plat ever, and we had to avoid trophies. It was such a cool,
That was a good
unique
run. That was a very
challenge,
unique run because we had to think about the game in ways we hadn't ever thought about it before.
and it
We had to
helped. We didn't
plan
have
a
to look
route.
anything. We also didn't have to look anything up because me and my sister are encyclopedias
Yeah,
of this game.
that was just pure knowledge, pure routing, like individual stuff. It was great.
Yeah, and so that, like I know this game inside out, but like the content finally getting made for this game, it's just super good. So I recommend Panda Boss Paradise. It's out. Go get it if you guys have an interest in Castle Crashers. If you ever play Castle Crashers, go get it and then play Castle Crashers. Like it's just
Yeah, if you haven't
I think
played
it was like
Castle
17
Crashers, like
bucks.
let's fix that first of all, and then let's worry about the rest of this stuff. Like just play Castle Crashers. It's a classic.
No, for sure, for sure. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little shout out to the game, and I told you guys I'd be talking about me playing it. So this is kind of a little add-on of my intro because that's why I've been playing it because the new drop. So yeah, there
Yeah,
we go.
for sure.
There's Castle Crashers.
Good game. God, what a classic. It's
What a
ridiculous.
classic. What a
What a
classic.
classic.
What a fresh game.
Oh, shut up now.
um. Okay, is it time to tackle the elephant in the room?
Do you
The
wanna?
the final
Are we
the
are we
final
just gonna
opening.
hop into it and end this
Are we
off on a
gonna
bang?
just rip off the band-aid? We'll talk. We'll yeah. Let's just do it.
All right. So let me just start by saying, for anybody who has been keeping up with this story, none of this is officially confirmed, but there's enough in here to where I think we can start the conversation. Okay? So this all began with Helldivers 2. God damn it.
It always goes back
So
to
it's always Helldivers 2.
democracy.
It's always democracy. So Helldivers 2 got announced to come to Xbox, and Helldivers 2 is a Sony made, Sony owned IP, made, first party, all that stuff. It's a Sony game. So to come to Xbox is very weird. Xbox has been porting a lot of their games to PS5, and whoever will have them really, and a lot of people kind of were saying like, okay, that makes sense because Xbox isn't necessarily doing the best. So to get some extra revenue and make some extra money, they're porting their games. Whatever, right? Going to be the most successful third-party publisher, and they're doing really well with a lot of their games and a lot of their ports. Well, now Sony's releasing a game on Xbox. The questions started flying. Everyone immediately is like, "Oh, we're gonna get Spider-Man. We're gonna get God of War. We're gonna get all these games on Switch 2 and all these games on Xbox, next console and stuff." And a lot of time the question was up in the air, and it turned into a fanboy war, and how those things always do, right? But then there was like a job posting of like somebody to kind of help work on like distributing games across platforms. And then everything that Sony's been saying about it has kind of been hinting that like this is the future, that they're looking to do maybe some more multi-platform releases, the details of which we don't know. They could only be planning a couple games. They could be planning just do multiplayer games. No one really knows. Is it likely that they do the full slate? Maybe. But we just don't know. The question, though, the actual thing that is being discussed, though, is does this make sense, first of all, as a business? But more importantly, how does this affect, like, the individual, the consumer, the gamer, right? Because for the longest time, as long as I've been gaming, the thing that matters, man, it's been exclusives. And I think we're seeing a lot of people, consumers, whatever you want to call them, a lot of people, gamers, individuals, kind of push back against that and say that like they're not necessarily like exclusivity doesn't necessarily matter to them anymore. You had things like big pushes to release platforms, or excuse me, to decouple games from a certain platform. I mean, the biggest one I can remember was like the Break Free Persona campaign to get Persona off of PlayStation and onto Xbox, Nintendo, and PC. Obviously, PC was the big focus there, but like still, like it was a lot of people wanting to play Persona 5 or whatever on Switch, and like we have that now. That was a big successful push. We have the Kingdom Hearts games. The same thing happened with Kingdom Hearts and Final
Same
Fantasy.
thing. I mean, you take a look real quick. Just want to talk about the
Yeah,
Kingdom Hearts
no,
and
for
Final
sure.
Fantasy thing real quick. With Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy, you had this series that didn't need to be exclusive, and I think that
That's the
that's kind
question,
of
though.
where the question. I think that's where the line needs to be drawn in the sand. Does the game need to be exclusive? And there are games that I say no, right? There is one game that released on PlayStation that I think should have been exclusive for Xbox.
Wait,
Hi-Fi
exclusive
Rush.
for Xbox?
Xbox shouldn't have given
Oh well,
Hi-Fi Rush
yeah,
to
duh.
PlayStation. But what I'm saying is Hi-Fi Rush is a game where it's like that's an Xbox, that's a Sony or Microsoft game. That's an Xbox game. And playing it on PlayStation is weird. Playing Kingdom Hearts on Xbox as a person who's played Kingdom Hearts 3 and 2 on every single console or on every version that's been available feels weird. I really appreciated it. I really loved it, but the triangle reaction command input is still a triangle. They didn't fix any of the assets. They didn't make the game accessible for that because that was too much work. They didn't want to do it. And they just kind of ported the games over as is with just the different buttons on the menu. But it really takes away a lot of the immersion, a lot of the experience itself. And I would say that those games, I honestly would have just been like, okay, the next one, just kind of have. But you can't really do that. So Kingdom Hearts' push, well, mostly to get to PC,
Yeah.
I think having to go through Xbox was kind of weird.
I think though the question, right? So like, we're talking like okay, games that were exclusive to PlayStation or whatever, right? And like, oh yeah, the triangle button command in Kingdom Hearts, right? But then the question is like, okay, well, like, sure, that's a little weird, but like, it's nice to just have it on every platform and introduce this game to a bunch of new people. There are people out there who will just argue no game should be exclusive, that just exclusivity should not exist. And that is where I think the actual real crux of this debate is, because it seems like that is kind of where the industry's going.
So
However,
I've seen this conversation be brought up with PCs because I've always have been like, well then the only console that's going to matter is the one that's the most powerful with no exclusives, right? If you can play Mario Kart on the Switch
yeah,
or on your PS5, you would never choose your Switch. Your Switch sucks compared to your PS5. So you wouldn't choose to play the game on a worse console. It's just math. And I've heard like, well, people have worse PCs, and I don't think that that's a good argument because that's a budgetary restraint where it's like if they
and
had
it
infinite
could be
money, they wouldn't
fixed.
have.
It could be fixed as well without like it's not like buying a PS5 where like okay now your PS4 games don't work. Or well, I guess that's
Yeah,
that's the wrong example. It's not like buying a PS4 and then now your PS3 games don't work. I guess is a
yeah,
better example. It's like yeah, you just upgrade your PC and everything still works. It
exactly.
just works better.
It just works better. So you could do incremental stuff. If people have this idea that like, oh, I just get a PC and now I can play these PC games and I'm playing them better. But it's an investment. Getting a PC is an investment. You get a desktop and now you have to kind of invest into it, get stuff, get upgrades, but then also it's not going to work right immediately. These things they take patience and handling and doing stuff with them. And people are kind of pushing towards like especially with the conversation and I kind of wanted to bring this up too with the podcast was people think Xbox might be going towards a PC
That's
console
kind of what
instead of.
has been super hinted at and super leaked and all that stuff, is that the next Xbox won't be a console. It'll just be a like a Steam machine. It'll just be a PC that you can have like the UI of a console, and it's just going to be a regular PC though. And it's like, that's interesting. That's kind of already what they're doing with the ROG Ally. Like the Xbox ROG
And
Ally is just a ROG Ally. It's a handheld PC with the Xbox logo on it.
and do you think that I don't know what your thoughts are on that. I
I
don't.
I think it's that's the thing, right? Is like, and I will admit, I guess I'm a little bit of a traditionalist to a point where like I think the best way to do things is the way that it's kind of been for the longest time. You know, you have these console manufacturers and they make games and they make partnerships and deals, and they have reasons to go out and get their systems, and it kind of keeps everyone competing. It keeps everybody on their toes. It keeps consumers thinking about like, oh man, like I got a PlayStation, I want to play Death Stranding, or I got a Xbox, I want to play Forza and Halo. I got a Nintendo, I want to play Mario Kart. And it's like, yeah, man, like that works. It's always worked. And I understand business wise why you would just want to be like, hey, like you really wanted to play this game, you didn't get a chance to. Well, now it's been a couple years. Well, here you go. Now you can buy it. You weren't going to buy a PlayStation, but now you're going to
Now
buy the game.
that's
You're going to give me money.
that
I
I will
get that.
defend.
I get
That
that.
I will
I
defend. I will
fully
defend.
understand it.
I will defend that, and I think that's the right thing to do. I think that makes the most sense. I think that makes console wars, which start and end every 2 weeks. It will make console wars go down. It will literally. I think that that style of doing things is exclusively beneficial, and where people's complaints have kind of come in, and this has happened with the Spider-Man trilogy. Well, technically there's two mainline Spider-Man Insomniac Spider-Man games, but there's 3 games in total. Was people were like, "Oh, this game's bad. I don't like it," until the PC port's going to come out. And that is unfair when you're expecting it. And I think that that's the problem. Is let's say you didn't own a PlayStation and Spider-Man comes out. Spider-Man 2 comes out. And you're like, "Well, I don't own a PlayStation. I can't play it, but I really like this game and I liked the first one and I like Miles Morales." And now you're sitting there waiting 2 years for the game that has already out to come out for you, and you now know the entire plot. You know the story, you know everything. You can't avoid spoilers for a series you're interested in for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Unless you're Michaela, and then you're a legend.
Well, if you're my sister, then you're. Notice how I'm claiming her. She's my sister when she does cool stuff. She's your sister
Right.
when she's lame. But when you're my sister, you also can play through like 4 palaces in Persona 5 and then not touch the game for 2 months, and then play through another 4.
No, that's
He's
fair.
like, "Oh, I'm done. I'm done. I'm 170 hours
With
in 2 days."
with that though, like, you know, I think the thing to keep in mind too is just like there's so much nuance here, because and I'm just going to speak a little bit on like the companies as a business, which doesn't really affect me very much, but like it's important to like kind of like look at it from that lens too. So you look at like Xbox, right? They have certain games that they now own, right? Like Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones, would our mom have bought an Xbox to play Indiana Jones? Absolutely. But she didn't have to. And like that's now money that Microsoft lost. That's now a consumer that they lost. Mom, who knows, right? Mom could have been like, "Oh, I prefer this controller, and oh my gosh, I like this UI a lot more. You know what? I'm not gonna buy the next game on Xbox." And then maybe she subscribes to Game Pass, and maybe she like those are things that now Xbox is never going to get because they lost the potential that thing like exclusives as a whole are about brand identity more so than they are about anything else. It's a thing to
But
tie to
Xbox
say,
doesn't have an identity.
but Sony does, Nintendo does. So the concept of like the future without those things, like there is a possibility of a future where on day one, Mario Odyssey 2 and Halo 7 and Uncharted 9 all launch on the same day on the same console and PC. Like that's a thing that could happen. And the question is that the future we should be going to, or does it make sense for these things to exist? Like the debate about exclusives is something that's been raging for 40 years, dude. Like this is not new.
Well,
this is old debate, and I don't know, man. It's weird because
Okay,
I don't think it's bad. It's just weird that we're here to a point
we
where
just
this
have
is
to take it out
slowly
of
going
the
away.
medium. We have to take it out of the medium of games for a second,
Well,
right?
if we do that, then of course it doesn't make any sense. It's something that only works in games. You could say this like, oh, like why does it make sense to have like a movie only show in one movie theater, show it in every movie theater, and get the most amount of money? But that's not how this works because the only other
No,
comparison,
but
the only other
but let
comparison is like because it's on, it's like owning.
subscription services like streaming services, Netflix original, HBO originals, Apple TV. Apple TV saw a huge increase in sales when Severance came out because people fell in love with Severance.
Yeah,
So that's what I'm saying. When you take it out of that scene, of obviously you're not going to show your movie in one movie theater. That's dumb because the experience doesn't change depending on the movie theater you're in. The streaming service you're on changes your experience, right? I can watch not all 8 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Peacock. I can watch seasons 2 through 5 on Netflix. Where am I going to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Well,
yeah.
the one that can play the one that has the entire show on it. And so that's what I mean. You have this when you don't have exclusives, you're saying like lack of identity. When you don't have an identity for Xbox or for Microsoft because they haven't since the Series X has come out like at all. When you don't have an identity, it's easier to make that decision. PlayStation and Nintendo, like you were saying, have firm identities. And I would even add PC in there. Because PC's identity is customizing. That is the most customizable, if you want to call it a
Yeah,
console,
user
the desktop,
choice and all that, I guess, you know.
and modifying. You make changes to your game. You know what I mean? You do all of that stuff. It's so freeform. Steam Workshop is already a distributor of that. These consoles have their identities. Microsoft doesn't. It needs to fit into a niche. If Microsoft makes Xbox into a here, everyone get it, and you can use our consoles for Game Pass, but if you want to play it on something else, you just have to pay full price. If that's the direction that they're going, honestly, I'm for it. When you
I'm
add
kind of
Sony into
for
the
that
question, I disagree.
too. And that's the thing too, right? Is it's like it's weird because it feels hypocritical to say out loud, but like I do think it makes more sense for some rather than others. And like yeah, I don't think Nintendo should do this or Sony should do this, but at the same time, like, am I going to complain about more people getting to play a game? No. But is this going to impact my purchasing decisions going forward? Absolutely. If, again, because this is speculation at the moment, we don't know what the full plan is, but if Sony just pulls a Microsoft, yeah, well, I don't have a need for a PlayStation anymore. So I'm not going to
Why
make
would
that my
you?
future because like with Xbox, like I think it makes a lot of sense for them and to just kind of become like the jack of all trades, sure. But also because they did that, I don't play Xbox anymore. I played Xbox every single generation, and I will not probably buy any more Xbox consoles ever again because there's no reason to. I have
But
everything
here's the
else that can play
thing.
the Xbox games. So I think it's bad in that sense because like if Sony does this, I'm not going to buy PlayStation anymore. If Nintendo does this, I'm not going to buy Nintendo anymore. I will literally just be a PC gamer and play everything, and that's me. And I know not everyone's going to make that decision, but that is going to impact my purchasing decisions
But
absolutely
here's
if
the
that
thing.
happens.
Here's the thing. People are paying for Game Pass. So your advantage of having a Xbox is you get Game Pass.
Yeah,
You
but that
get
doesn't
these games
matter to
day one.
me.
I know that doesn't matter to you because you're only going to pay for the games that you want to play, but you can get these games day one for free by paying for their services. Xbox's niche is that if you want to play our games the most, I'm going to say efficiently, that might sound weird, but if you want to play our games most efficiently, most effectively, the best way to play an Xbox game is to just have Game Pass and get it for free. You
But
just
then,
include it with your subscription,
but keep
and
in
then you can play
mind,
that game for whenever.
but keep in mind, you don't need an Xbox to play Game Pass games. You can play Game Pass
Some
games, no, all of them. Yeah, there's actually games that are on Game Pass you cannot play on Xbox.
like for you're talking about Game Pass PC, right?
Yeah, Game Pass PC has exclusive games that aren't on Xbox. And every Xbox game that's ever been made is on PC, but not every PC game is on Xbox. Like there are literally like the best place to play Xbox games is not Xbox, and it's not been Xbox for years. The best way to play Xbox
Yeah.
games is PC. The best way to play Game Pass is PC. Games Pass is half the price on PC as well. Like Games
But
Pass is just
remember,
better over here.
but PC is also more expensive than an Xbox. Well, okay, not
Yeah,
anymore.
but I mean,
Not with
it's
the
in
price increases.
it's but like the experience, we get whatever, like all those things, right? Like, yes, I'm willing to spend money to get a platform to play a couple of games. I've done it before. I'll do it again. When it comes to that kind of stuff, like the question remains, right? Like, does losing exclusives hurt your brand identity? Does it
Yes.
hurt your long-term sales? Does it hurt your short-term sales?
Yes.
I think the answer is
Yes.
yes. I think
I think it's yes
exclusives
to all of
give
those.
I think the exclusives give a reason. Everyone always points and says like, okay, but like look at like a Sony exclusive. Those games are only selling 10 million copies on a platform with 80 million users or whatever. Though to be fair, that's not exactly accurate one to one, but yeah, like you're looking at that. But like also an attach rate that high is crazy. Sales that high are crazy. That's awesome. You never assume that every single person's going to buy every exclusive, but you want to have exclusives for every gamer to kind of choose between and entice them and say like, yeah, these are reasons you should get a PlayStation. You know, these award-winning or highly, influential games or whatever. Like, yeah, not everyone who likes Spider-Man is going to like Astrobot, and not everyone who likes God of War is going to like Hot Shots Golf. But those are all Sony games, and you're going to have people who like all of them. You're going to have people that like a couple of them. You're going to have people that like one of them, but you're going to have a fan. And then that fan is going
I
to
mean,
own your console. Then they're going to spend money on buying other games, other services. They're going to buy PS Plus. They're going to rent movies on your platform. They're going to buy other games. They're going to play COD and Madden and whatever else on your platform and not the other people's platforms. That gives you money.
and
That's
you
how
have
exclusives work.
you have to have at least some exclusives. Like Xbox still has some exclusives, right? You know what I mean?
No.
But their
The only
exclusives are
exclusives
moving
they
to
have
PC.
The only exclusives Xbox has are games that were made before they started porting their games to other platforms. Because now that
Yeah.
they're putting every game on every platform, all of their games from here until the heat death of the universe will be on PlayStation and PC. Some will come to Nintendo as well. The only games that are still exclusives are games from before, from like the 360 and early Xbox One generation before they were doing any of this. Games like Gears of War
Yeah.
4. But like Gears of War 5 is an exclusive, and Gears of War Reload, which is Gears of War 1, that's coming to
Has a
everything.
physical, and it has a physical release for PlayStation. Is not having a physical release for Microsoft, for Xbox.
No, it's physical on both.
Isn't one or Ninja Gaiden or something like that? What's
It
not
was, and then
getting
they
a?
changed it. It was, and then they changed it. Yeah,
They changed it. Oh
yeah.
yeah. Okay.
There
But
are
like
some other
anyways,
examples. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there have some games that did that, but that's not a thing right now. That kind of changed.
I just
And
Microsoft's
this is not a
decisions.
Microsoft diss. This is not a Microsoft diss. This is just a general
No.
industry question, because the question is whether or not it's good or bad for the future of it. And it's interesting to look at that. And I don't think it's necessarily good or bad from that point. And there are pros and cons to both ways. What concerns
Yeah.
me is just it's never been done before. And so like, where does now,
And
you know,
Microsoft's
where do we go
decisions.
here? How do we
And
do this?
Microsoft's decisions have kind of led them down the path of this is kind of becoming their niche. They're making money off of not their consoles, right? And one thing that kind of led me to that is that they partnered for their handheld. You know, if they
Yeah.
partner with PC companies, they're in their niche. That's their niche. Their niche is that they're basically becoming a studio that makes games for all platforms that then has their own systems that get the benefits of their company. You know what I mean? And that becomes their thing. So if Xbox exclusives are still being ported over to everywhere, but we want to pay $60 for that, here's a $50 or $60 a year membership that you can play these games. And it's like, okay, well then you get that. You know, not that it's like 100 some bucks for Game Pass now, but anyways, that's I think it's an interesting conversation. Like you're saying, it's the why, it's the how, it's the what's this gonna look like. And I think to that
There's a lot of
it's
uncertainty.
gonna be time will tell.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean,
You
I think with like my stance, right? It's like what's better, right, for the individual? Does it make more sense, right? I mean, I think it's a give and a take, right? Because there's pros and cons to doing it both ways. Like, right, like yeah, if The Last of Us comes to Xbox, cool. Like people who only play on Xbox can play it now. But then the question is like, but then if Sony's making less money doing these things, are you going to get as many games? Are you going to get the higher quality of games? Are they going to put as much money into making these games? Like, I don't know. Are they going to put as much money into like making these platforms and keeping the platforms alive, keeping your games library going? There are people who've only played on PlayStation. They have thousands, tens of thousands of dollars invested in games, and it's like, I don't want these people to lose these things. Sony and Nintendo, their hardware still sells a lot of units. They're seeing year on year growth in sales, in unit sales, in game sales, in subscription sales, and every metric they're seeing complete green. And Xbox is the only person who's putting their games on everything, and their hardware is seeing year on year declines, 20% quarter over quarter, just constantly dipping. And so it's like, okay, does it make sense for Sony and Nintendo to do that if that's what they have to look forward to? Like, if Nintendo and Sony starts putting their games everywhere, like, their platforms are going to see declines too. Like, I don't know. I don't see how these things all work together. I don't see how it's going to affect the industry long term. If there is a future to where everyone can have their unique platforms that have reasons to use them without locking games to them, then awesome, right? Because obviously the
Yeah.
goal is gamers are gamers, let's just play games. But if there's a future where consoles just don't exist anymore and all you have is like PC, I don't know, man. I feel like that kind of loses a little bit of it. And I'm saying this as a PC gamer. Like, I think that loses a little bit of the vibe. But maybe that's where we're headed. I don't know. I don't think
I
so.
think I
I
think
don't think
time
so,
I think
but
time will tell. I think time will tell. I think how Sony actually is acting with this. And if it's one of those things that it's a couple years, I'd be in defense of. I
we
just think
also
it
could
would
just be
suck to
blowing
do
this out of
that
proportion. We
with
absolutely could just be
franchises.
blowing this out of proportion. We don't know, but
100%.
I kind of agree with what you're saying. Like it
I, I
there are
I
things where
think
it
for
might make sense.
franchises,
Yeah.
it would be difficult. Like if Spider-Man 3 doesn't come out on PlayStation on PC, and then you just have a bunch of people waiting for Spider-Man 3 that are PC only. I feel like you're missing out on that sale. But then you also get a resurgence of a game when a game re-releases. You know what I mean? Even if the game is unchanged, when there's a new release of the game, people usually talk about it again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You guys let us know what you guys think down below
Yeah.
in the comment section of
I
the
have a
YouTube video
feeling
if
we're
you're
going to
watching on
talk about
YouTube.
this more as this progresses, just because there's so much. And this is, like I said, this has been a debate that's been going on for 40 years. Like, this is
Yeah.
not a new conversation. This is an old conversation that just keeps coming up because the industry is always changing. And, like, we don't know.
And I
We don't
think it's
know.
so interesting. And we I feel like in the podcast episodes that I'm in with you, we talk about the gaming industry and its future and its placement a lot. And I think it's
Yeah.
an interesting kind of retrospective into the games and seeing and learning from the past, right? So, you guys just let us know what you think. What do you think is going to happen with the Sony situation? Let us know if you guys think Battlefield 6 is going to pass COD in sales. Um uh, you know, join the Discord,
Let
get
us know what
into
you've been playing.
let us know what you guys have been playing and honestly, give us game suggestions if you guys are playing something you think would be fun.
Yeah.
Subscribe to Fizz-sama. Go subscribe to his channel.
Yeah.
He makes great content. I'm
Sometimes.
in it. So,
Sometimes.
I'm in it sometimes as well.
I love being able to do this. So I love being able to have these like random conversations and talk about all this stuff just because it's nice. And I mean, I know we don't have all the answers and sometimes it's just us yapping, but it's good to kind of speculate and I feel like it's just interesting. I think the direction of the industry and the direction of the games, it's fun and interesting to look at because I love this stuff, man. I love gaming and no matter what the future looks like, as long as gaming exists, I'm still gonna be doing it. I mean, I'm 28. Like I have no intentions of stopping gaming anytime soon. Like I fully intend to be like our parents, gaming and well into their middle age. So
No, for sure.
we'll see.
But yeah, no, we'll see, and just this will be interesting times, and
Yep.
we'll definitely talk more about it. Um, so yeah, what anything else? Do you have anything else you want to add?
I like your hair.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It did not. It. I played pickleball today, uh, and I feel like it didn't sit right. But I kind of shaped it.
That looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For you, sorry for you audio only people.
Yeah, not getting to see him all day this whole podcast, that's got to be torture. Oof.
Yeah, I know. I've been told that before. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You guys, you know what? If we could end this on one last thing, go play Castle Crashers. Get it? Painter Boss Paradise. It's out now. Go play it. Go join the Discord. Subscribe to our YouTube channels. Follow us on everything.
Also, get Battlefield 6 instead of COD.
Oh, get Battlefield 6 instead of COD. But actually, because I want to win my argument, get COD instead of Battlefield 6.
What
So,
the hell? What the
so that
hell,
I
man?
can,
What the hell,
yeah,
man?
so that I can win. No.
I hate you. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching or listening. See you next time.